Hi, everybody. This is Marilyn. Do we have any audio? I'm hoping. Yes, thank you. Okay, hello, everybody. This is Marilyn, and it's time for the noon edition of Welcome to My World. This is the 15th of July, and it is a Friday. So happy Friday, everybody. I hope everybody is having a wonderful morning. We've had a lot of good charts posted and a lot of trades, and one of the things that I think is really very cool about this chat room is posting these trades and getting feedback, because really and truly the person that helps the most is the person that posts the chart. But what I notice is people are starting to cement into their own head what they see with these trades and how they like to use these tools the best. So that's what this whole thing is all about, and it tells me it must be working. We've had kind of a slow and creeping morning, which I kind of expected after this fiasco in France. Markets do not like anything scary happening. The market has a personality, and if you say boo to it, it just says, I'm not going to do anything, I don't think. The US dollar, on the other hand, has gone up significantly today, and the euro has declined. Also, Canadian dollar is down. And so let's see, we've got the VIX trading right at 1304 right now, which is another indication that it's not too inclined to do too much. Next week may be a little different story. For those of you who like to trade the indices, next week we've been in earnings season, but it really kicks in next week. If you trade the indices, I would suggest that you either find a website or use the Thinkorswim platform, or there's a number of Yahoo Finance and all that stuff where you can find the scheduled earnings and what time, if they're coming before or after the market opens. Keep in mind, for those of you who like to trade the NASDAQ, some of these big stocks that are listed on the NASDAQ and announce their earnings after the market closes, what they mean is they announce those at 4 o'clock or 1 minute after 4. And when does the NQ close? At 4:15. So sometimes, if these are the big, huge stocks that can really move, Apple and Google and Facebook and all that kind of stuff, that can really move that NASDAQ, you can get some nice trades in the last 5-10 minutes of the day that you didn't really know were going to come. So if that is one of your core markets, now remember, this happens 4 times a year. So it might start adding to your bottom line if you are aware of when some of those big ones are going to announce their earnings. Before the market, sometimes we'll move it at the open, and you're sitting there thinking, well, we didn't have too much news. I wonder what that is. It's the earnings. So let's see. There's a couple things. I noticed something on my my NQ chart I wanted to show you, because this is generic for across any market when you're watching these. When you see this kind of a pattern develop, this is NQ, and I use it on a 10-tick C's chart, but it went up here and hit the high of the day right at the open, just about, and then it's been backing off ever since then. But if you get your nose back off the monitor a little bit and not trying to get into all the nitty-gritty, one thing to be aware of is it was trying to make green apexes here. And these, I really like the way they've made the first apex on the change a paler color, so you don't have to scroll back and start counting how many apexes you're dealing with. But then when it went down and it broke the power line on this green one, it started forming a paler red one. But notice the spacing on these E's. It will start and go down, and right at settlement, you can almost count on it oscillating a little bit. So it made a little Lori chop box here and a little Marilyn bad guy country right in here. But then as it starts on down, this is really a significant E right here. It came with the MVP. I like to use Trend Catcher for the entries because it puts them right at the bottom of the E's. This is a flat topped bottom E, which makes it a little more significant. But as this thing came down, notice what has happened. The distance between this E and this X. Typically, when it starts a trend, the E's will come a little closer and a little closer and a little closer until it finally runs out of steam and turns around. And you'll see that particularly this fall when the markets do take a trend. Summertime, it's a little difficult, but typically the first big E will make a longer run, and then the second one will make a little bit shorter run, and the third one a little bit shorter, and then it gets shorter and shorter and tighter, and then it reverses. I don't know about this. I don't know if anybody else finds this Windows 10 to be a little sticky when you try to grab a chart and move it, but I guess that's one of the things we'll all have to learn to deal with. Anyway, the other thing that I thought I'd pass along to you, I think most of you know that Lori and I talk quite a bit, and we like to bounce things off of each other all the time too. I don't know if that background noise is coming through. They're building a carport out here in front of me. Anyway, we kind of reminded ourselves today, Lori and I see the same things. We see them just a little bit differently. And so our entries are sometimes a little bit different, and we have a little different style. We're basically using the Apex tools and the Apex indicators, but we keep talking about, we have new people come in and they say, okay, I went through all the videos, and which strategy should I start with? And it just seems to both of us the same thing. You start with the one that makes the most sense to you, the one that's easiest for you to see. In other words, you take the path of least resistance. And if you sit there and you're thinking, what? I'm supposed to do what? And I can't remember the rules. This other one's so much easier. Well, by all means, use the other one. Use the one that's the easiest. The other thing is I have tried to trade like Lori, and I get into trouble with it. And Lori's tried to trade like me, and she gets into trouble doing that too. So we've both come to the same conclusion. We see the same thing. We see it a little bit differently, but we have a little bit different style. And the point I'm trying to make is that once you have settled on that, don't start changing charts and changing stuff and trying to make it better by changing a bunch of stuff. Learn to enhance and get more picky with what you see and what's easiest for you. And I can tell you, in seeing some of the chat that's coming through here, that Anthony has arrived at that exact thing. And he's got it's kind of the Anthony system. He's taken the trades that he sees that are easy for him, that he's comfortable with, and he doesn't worry about ticks. He's playing football. He's after yardage and first downs. And he gets enough first downs. He's got control of the ball. And when he gets 100 yards, he's got a touchdown. He's done. That's it. Thank you very much. I won. So all of us have to find our own little niche that works for us. But if you just keep working this, it will come to you. But do not keep jumping out of this and saying, oh, well, so-and-so's doing this, I'm going to do that for a while. And then you get in trouble, and then you say, oh, well, then so-and-so over here is doing this other thing. I'm going to try their chart and do it. No. Sit down and mark your charts. I know Lori and I both feel like we're about worn the soapbox out. But mark those charts. It is enormously valuable. And it will eventually, all of a sudden, it will click. And it's like you don't even see stuff that you don't need to see. It's you get selective vision, just like you get selective hearing. So, okay, that's my soapbox for today. Okay, Monday, we're going to have some news come out. Keep in mind next Friday is options expiration. So there, between options expiration next Friday and earnings in full roar all week, there'll be some movement in these markets. Not much on Monday morning. Some of the foreign currencies maybe. Tuesday, the housing numbers are out for the U.S. Wednesday, early morning UK news, and then Thursday and Friday is going to get a little more busy with the news. So anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend and stays safe. And oh yes, and another thing, crude oil will roll. And I meant to check. Let me double check the. I'm gonna double check the volume right this very minute on crude oil. And yeah, by Monday we will be on the September contract, and that goes for Nadex as well as futures. So, but don't roll your chart now and try to trade crude oil this afternoon on the September contract. But before you open up on Monday, I would be sure that you've got the September contract up. Right now, there's just not a lot of volume in crude oil right now at all. We're trading 287 on the August, and it looks like about 175. So they are beginning to roll those, and when that happens this afternoon, there could be a sell-off in crude oil as they start closing out the big money starts getting serious about closing out those August contracts, and they will be dead serious about it on Monday morning. So we will. We've got a question in the chat room, and that's something maybe some of you are wondering the same thing. So the question is, somebody just got into the room and wanted to know about my blithering here. But anyway, I try to come on at noon every day and just do a little overview of what's happened for the morning and what to expect for tomorrow. Go over some trades if there's anything that we've seen. I'm sorry, I don't have Amar shut off. I usually shut him off earlier. Kind of go over what we can expect in the way of news numbers and anything significant that might happen the next day. If I notice anything a little bit out of the ordinary that has a lesson in it, I will try to put that on my camera, drag my chart over for it. But that's usually, this is basically my world, because it's the take of, it's just my take, and I am by no means an expert trader, but I am smart enough to figure out that these apex indicators are incredibly accurate. It's a matter of learning to use them, and there is a learning curve to this. Make no mistake about it. You look at somebody like, like Dr. Ben Carson. He didn't learn to do brain surgery in a 2-week trial to see if he could do it. This is a real project, and you have to stick with it. But all I know is the accuracy of this stuff is unbelievable.